Hey there, athletes. Coach John Ferry here from Team Wilpers. Very excited to welcome you, as always, to our Week 5 athlete briefing of our Fall in Love with Running Challenge. I hope everyone is very much enjoying their unload week here in Week 4. Just a little reminder that our goals from this week were to reduce that volume, reduce the intensity, allow our bodies to recover from these kind of few weeks of tough training and testing you've been doing. And probably most importantly here, make sure you're getting your body good and ready to handle the final 2 weeks of this challenge to come here. So enjoy the remainder here of Week 4. As always, a little bit of housekeeping tonight, kind of a few more items than usual here. So start off with my usual banter here, which we're in week 4, going into Week 5. We're over 2/3 of the way through this challenge here almost. Important not only to be continuing to chase that 100% completion percentage, but checking those boxes to say I did the workout. So if you're off of 100%, no problem. We want to be as high as possible on that. You're still accountable to achieve that high mark. If you're still chasing it, congratulations. Keep going after it. I know we've got to name the winners for weeks 1, 2, and 3, but weeks 4 through 6, 100% completion percentage winners are still on the line. So even if you've missed a workout already, there's still a chance to get back in there, be consistent over these final weeks, and run the chance of being in that drawing. Just a couple of little updates here. Our All Access, I think we're a little bit overdue for our next All Access presentation, but this time around, instead of just picking a topic I think is important, I'm going to put a post up here in the next 24 hours and kind of hear what you think is important and what you would like to talk about. So to keep an eye out for that, probably tomorrow morning, just looking for things that are important to the group, things that you want to hear about, especially as we transition a little bit onto our shoulder season and off season here in the final quarter of the year. Also, speaking of final quarter of the year and our key events coming up, we put out today, I think on our social media platforms, our calendar for the New York City Marathon weekend. So while I wish every single one of you could be here, I know that's not quite possible, but if you can, whether you're running the marathon or not, we would love to see you here in New York City over the marathon weekend. So our plans in general are our Friday morning shakeout. Saturday morning, not listed there, but there's a 5K through the park. Little insider tip, Mr. Wilpers may or not be running that 5K, looking for a fast time here going into his off season. So I'll probably spend a little time Saturday. I'll post that in the group if we end up getting some interest to meet up and watch the 5K Saturday morning. And then finally, we'll spend most of the day on Sunday out at our Team Wilpers cheer station on 5th Avenue in between 109th and 110th, trying to cheer on all of you runners. And like I said, people not running, absolutely come. Help those people who are running get up 5th Avenue. That's a big, steep hill starting around mile 23 on the course. Needs everybody's help. One little thing. So we're coming to the final third of this challenge. We're obviously here going into Week 5. Week 6 is the end, kind of a shorty. The reason is really I wanted to make sure we could get our holiday challenge lined up in the same way that we did last year, which is starting the week of Thanksgiving, running through the week of New Year's. So that'll be the same plan this week. Signups will start for that starting probably early next week. So keep an eye out. It'll start to become available in the portal. Once again, I'll make a post on the group page. This is a great accountability challenge. This is a time of year that's really difficult for a lot of people to stay active. Even the people who've been training incredibly hard through the fall can get caught up in kind of the hubbub of the holidays. So, Matt and I have seen it 1,000 times. You get great and fit during the fall, falls off on the holiday. It's awfully just tough to come back in the dead of winter. We're coming into spring and starting all over again. So we don't want that. So this is a great opportunity to get friends, family, anybody that you want to stay accountable to, anybody that you want to be kind of staying fit through this holiday season, getting fitter, faster, funner together. That's what we're looking for here in this holiday challenge. So look out for that sign up coming early next week. Now, actually to our Week 5 workouts. So the week is starting with an interval run. So this is going to be a mixed pace interval run of VO2 max and half marathon pace intervals, starting with those 1 minute repeats at VO2 max, moving to the half marathon pace in the intervals, and then we're going back and finishing again on 1 minute intervals at VO2 max. So the reason we have those faster intervals at the start is that they require a lot of muscular engagement, the muscles that we really want to be recruiting even in our easy running, and sometimes a little bit hard to get into that. So it really requires you to put forth this, strong effort early, really open up your stride and get those major muscles involved right at the top of your workout. Very similar idea as to your strides, but a little bit more in depth. So holding pace for a little bit longer duration before we move into those half marathon steady state intervals, which are kind of called middle distance, light distance for that, about 4 minutes, those intervals. And the goal really is once you get kind of fired up and get those muscles involved, you get operating at a little bit higher pace. I'm hoping that when you pull back into half marathon pace, it actually feels like a little bit of a reprieve, even though you're holding the interval for quite a bit longer. The pace is significantly lower than that VO2 max, so hopefully your body is ready to handle it and actually feels a little bit easier than if you just jump straight into that half marathon pace. Also, we're going back to finish the workout on this VO2 max interval. So why would we do that? Really, this is just practice for finishing hard. So whether that means finishing hard in a race, finishing your 20-minute distance test hard, even just finishing an interval hard in a workout, that doesn't just happen immediately. It doesn't just happen naturally. When you're pushing yourself, that takes practice. And this is an opportunity to push yourself on a little bit of tired legs, not crazy long distances, 1 minute intervals, 1-to-1 work to recovery ratio. So certainly something that's very much in your wheelhouse. I know you can do it, but we're practicing finishing on a high note here. Run number 2, our progression run. So people are very familiar with progression runs. There are a lot of different ways to structure them, however. The main goal, however, does remain the same, which is start a little bit easier, finish a little bit harder. But everything in between we can vary. This particular workout actually focuses on almost primarily aerobic pace. So we're going to get up about as high as half marathon pace in this workout, but not till the very, very end for a short period of time. So this is really a proper zone 2 and zone 3 workout with a lot of early time spent very low in the zone. So this is absolutely a structured workout. This is not an easy workout. You're going to get into your zone 3, but there's some reasons we're going to do it here. So what I want is for that first 20-minute block or so, that warm up is to work through the lower end of your easy pace zones, then moving into the higher pace of that easy zone. So you could do this one of a couple ways. You could pick a low pace and kind of hit that steadily. You could pick a higher pace for the second section and hit that steadily, all within your easy pace range, or you could slowly progress over the time period through that. What I think is so important here, and we see this mistake all the time, is that people only operate at the top of that easy pace zone. But it is very intentionally, we've gone out of our way, whether you know this or not, to create a range for easy pace. And it's a very wide range. So in this warm-up period in particular, your first 2 progressions are to start at the low end of that easy pace, to slowly work your way up to the high end of that easy pace over an extended period of time. Our next progression is just to go a little bit over easy, but not quite to marathon pace. Then for a relatively short period in comparison to the totality of the workout, we'll get our zone 3 time at marathon pace and half marathon pace. But once again, we're going to work at the very low end of zone 3, which might be your marathon pace, all the way up to the high end of zone 3, which would be that half marathon pace. So it's a real gentle progression over it. I think I put in the goals of this week. The goal is really an opportunity to practice pacing, to feel super controlled, to maybe feel and experience ranges in your zone, your pace zones that you don't run in all the time. So a lot of things to work on here. Great opportunity to practice how to warm up and cool down in workouts and or for races or events or whatever you're doing. This is a very similar style. I see questions come up all the time of, what am I supposed to do for warm up? People mention just jumping straight into the top end of their easy pace zone. Maybe some days, not every day for sure, but what I would like to see is probably a much more gentle acceleration from the low end of easy pace zone to the high end of easy pace zone. Similarly on the cool down, coming from the high end of easy pace zone down to the low, almost even ending in a walk possibly for a little while at the end of that. Another very useful reason for this progression run here, it's going to be very relevant for people who are in the middle of their race season right now. A great opportunity to kind of not only practice a little mastery of this pacing, but great opportunity to practice not starting off that race too fast. One of the number 1 race issues I hear all the time is started too hard. And if we know it's the number one issue and it still happens all the time, we've got a little bit of a problem. So this is an opportunity, once again, to practice starting controlled and just moving up gradually, which is exactly what you want to do on most instances at the start of the race. Is start controlled and within a certain period of time, accelerate gradually to that race pace you're hoping to sustain for the rest of the race. And then finally, we have our, as always, endurance run to finish the week. This will be a straight zone 2, easy pace run. So maybe some of the things we learn and figure out in that progression run and pull back in, incorporate here in this endurance run. Otherwise, always hope that this is the most fun run of the week, one that with the lowest pressure, kind of go out to soak in the sunshine, if you will, and enjoy your time. We have no questions this week that came up, so I'm assuming that everyone assumes the assignment, despite the fact some kind of tricky workouts in here. So I'll bid everyone a fond farewell here. Thanks as always for being with us on a Friday evening. Have an amazing finish to week 4. Keep it nice and light, and we'll see you back here next time. Have a great